And late last night, Roberto sent us the story from Michael Gehlken, one of the few people that I actually like and respect at the Dallas Morning News, along with Calvin Watkins. I can't remember who else right now, but really Michael and Calvin. The rest can go ahead and kick rocks and slip on their 2-page paper. But Michael Gehlken, who is in the know, writes, Cowboys didn't plan for a season in which their entire coaching staff and franchise quarterback would be in a contract year, but that scenario is a possibility. Mike Zimmer, other new hires signed 1-year deals. That's a 1-year deal for Mike Zimmer. And then the final line, which will make the Dak haters, Mike Bassick, RJ Choppy, stand up. A Dak Prescott offseason extension is not promised. This is the second guy over there, along with David Moore, with a similar report. Bobby Belt, what do you make of that?
I mean, if Michael is talking about it, it's legitimate. Like, Michael is, typically I will, anything that Michael Gehlken or Todd Archer are talking about is going to make me sit up and take a little bit more notice. But yeah, this is something that we've heard leaked a little bit or suggested a little bit, is that like, oh, this could be their play. But you know, it feels like this tide. It's almost like the Fields versus trading or Fields versus Caleb Williams discussion in Chicago, where we keep hearing this changing tide of like, oh, it's going to be Fields. Oh, it's going to be number one. It's Fields. Same sort of thing where we keep hearing, oh, Cowboys could let this play out. And then it's like, no, they're going to get this done. They're going to sign it probably in the next 2 weeks or something. They've got to get it done. And then you hear Steven say stuff the other day like, hey, we don't have to get it done. Yeah. Like, we want to, but we don't have to get it done.
We can restructure it. The way it is.
Exactly. That they don't feel like they have to do anything with his contract in order to operate the way they want to this offseason.
And of course, the key question is, okay, are these reporters being used for leverage, or are they setting the table that they really may not give him $60 million a year anytime soon? That's the question here. Because when David Moore writes it, I think leverage. When Michael Gehlken follows up, I say, oh, Is this not happening? Is this actually going to be a reality? That's the way my brain is thinking about it right now.
Look, I mean, that is a good question. It is the reality. Like, what are they going to do? What is their whole motivation behind these kind of throwing out their little tidbits to the morning news or to certain media members? Like, are they and it's really like, are you really going to negotiate in the public media? Is that how you're doing it? Like, that's the way you want to go?
They've done it a lot of times
They
before.
have. A lot of teams have done it. Like, is that really the right way to go about it? I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
So when they brought back McCarthy, I remember that was one of the things that you had said, Chop, is that you felt like, hey, if you're going to bring back McCarthy, it can't be on a 1-year deal. At the very least, you need to tack on a meaningless extra year. It's got to look like there's some level of security. And Michael Gehlken writes in this article, he says that, you know, short-term contracts are not necessarily a surprise following a 48-32 beatdown in the wildcard round. He goes, still, there is some resulting discomfort and unhappiness within the building. One person close to the situation said the sentiment extends deeper than the coaches, adding that little sense of commitment is felt anywhere. And look, I think that whether you're Dak or Mike McCarthy or some of these other people on the roster that feel, if Dak is one of them, feel offended or uneasy or unhappy with the lack of commitment, tough.
Yeah.
I mean, tough. Like, don't get your ass kicked in the wild card round by a team that's not better than you at home.
Okay. Cool. Hardline stance. Well, guess what? At the end of the day, I have the leverage still. I'm on the higher step in the Suns game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'm Suns in 4. So, yeah, we got our ass kicked. Yeah, I got some playoff issues.
He was on the lower step.
The guy who got his ass kicked.
No. Suns and 4 guy was on the lower step. He didn't have the
Oh, he didn't?
No.
The
that was the
leverage?
most amazing part of that entire thing.
He was literally punching up.
That was the most amazing part of that fight.
Well, in my opinion, the top step in this scenario is going to purgatory. Go ahead. Live it all over again post Aikman. So go ahead, take your hardline stance.
Sure.
I'll go get paid somewhere else, and you can possibly rot.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the way that I would look at it as that you're really risking something here. But I mean, I also think that if the Cowboys want to hold the position of none of you have earned anything, then they all have to kind of eat that. Whether they care or not.
Yeah.
Like, Dak may not care. Dak may be like, fine, you're the one who's really jeopardizing things. Dak may not care. But for Dallas to have an internal sentiment of, we're not giving any of you anything after what happened last year, I don't hate the thought process.
Yeah, but they should pay CeeDee Lamb.
Well, so here's what's interesting.
You have your little blow-ups and whatever, like, you have to pay CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
you do, but I guess the thing is, like, if you're going to move on, if you're going to, like, not pay Dak and you're going to move on from Dak, then the play is to not pay CD and not pay Micah, and it's to trade him.
Yeah, that could be the play, but it'll never happen. Ever.
No, I wouldn't think so. But I mean, I could easily make the argument that they're in purgatory now. And if I was Jerry, I would come back to Dak and I'd say, son, we're in purgatory today. We're trying to get to heaven.
Right.
You can make the argument as an organization. I still don't think you can make that as a quarterback. Like, he just finished second in the MVP. He played his best football. You can't. I don't think that.
I understand that.
There's two different purgatories.
Yeah, there's a regular season and a playoff.
No, you're not relevant. Like, there's no reason to watch your games, and there's you're technically a contender. You're a division champ, possibly, until we get to the postseason. There's two different type of purgatories. It's you're on that third level of contenders versus you can be a top 5 drafting team.
I would not pick them. I was going to pick against them in all likelihood in the divisional round if they would have made it, everything else. But we can't say it's not just some impossibility at the start of the playoffs every year. We're not talking about like, well, it's completely impossible for the Cowboys to go on a run and win the Super Bowl. Like, they're talented enough. That to me is not purgatory. Purgatory is like you are stuck in the middle, and there is no hope of going up or down even,
or below. The Commanders have been stuck forever. The Chicago Bears have been stuck since the beginning of time with their quarterback.
What's the number? Is it still, there's never been a 4,000-yard passer in the history of the Bears, which is an absurd note, especially with the way the game's gone. But that's being stuck. Now, what I think is interesting here is one of the last lines of Michael's article where he says,
this is Michael Gehlken saying a Dak Prescott offseason extension is not promised. This came out at 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah, at 11 o'clock Indy time. So he's pushing this way late because he's in Indy. So this is the East Coast. He's pushing it out near midnight where he's at.
And why would he be writing it that late in Indy, Bob? As you're about to find out.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows? He may have just been a little busy bee, or maybe he was out late at a restaurant and talking to somebody that made him say, I need to go write something real quick. Talk to you later.
Yeah, Peter King, who went on G-Bag yesterday and finally retired, he said, I've retired because, like, I didn't want to go. I wasn't excited for certain events like the Combine. He goes, I'm excited to be in bed by 9:15. At the Combine, you're out every night till 1 a.m. Part of the reason why I wanted to go to the Combine.
Yeah, exactly.
And
1 a.m. and 6:30 start. We're gonna be pushing for that. We're going to spend the whole next year pushing to go next year.
Yes, I am.
It says talking about the Dak agreement, Todd France, the agent for Dak Prescott, Torrey Dandy, the agent for CeeDee Lamb, David Mulugeta, the agent for Micah Parsons. The Cowboys have zero plans to meet with any of the three while they're in Indianapolis.
Who said that, Michael?
Michael Gehlken said that they have no plans to meet with any of them and that they feel... it said two people familiar with the team's thinking said that they consider in-person meetings unnecessary to advance contract-related talks because they're familiar enough with the agents.
What do you make of that?
I think that's kind of nonsense. I think you need to, if you want to get these things done, you would sit down and just say, hey, come on the bus, let's hammer it out real quick. The fact that they're not doing that, that's not about familiarity or anything else. It's about, here's opportunity, get it done.
Stephen Jones, the other day in Indy, on having to get Dak done to free up some other cap space.
Well, we got ways to adjust his cap number for this year. We are, obviously between Dak and between Micah and CD, it's, the salary cap's real for us. With those three guys, in a situation where we want to, do deals with all three of them. Do you get to do everything you want to do with the salary cap? I don't think any team does. But, we're certainly going to be able to, go out and go to work and get the things done that we feel like we need to get done to be successful.
Do you want to do those deals this offseason?
we're not, like I said, won't expound on any details, timing, amounts, anything.
No, not timing, but you said you want to do deals about 3 of them.
I'm not going to say when.
Okay. Look, this is getting interesting, a little bit dramatic. I still think it's negotiating. That's what it is. Give me the percentage on Dak Prescott getting his extension done this offseason. I will still say it's 80-20.
I was going to say 75.
80% gets done.
75-80 was what I was thinking.
All right. So we're not totally buying all this.
It can be posturing a little bit, but it is interesting when, again, it's Michael referencing various sources, numbers of sources on different things relating to the lack of commitment.
We should get Gehlken on to talk about it.
That'd be great. Hopefully they don't rewind to 6:01 and hear you talking about the Dallas Morning News.
Yeah. Dallas Morning News, who's in bed with the ticket, shutting down anyone that we want to have on as a reporter there. So glad they're giving their reporters some more exposure on 100,000 watts on the home of America's team. Good job. Don't get uncomfortable, Bob. Don't get uncomfortable. All right.
I'm going to start blowing up all your spots on the air.
Blow them up. I blow them up. Go ahead.
True. You do.
I'm trying to get Calvin. I want Calvin Watkins to get some airtime. I want Gehlken, work on his on-air delivery. He's a beast. We're reporting.
Love Calvin.
We can go ahead and get, let's get these guys on. But DMN wants to go ahead and shut it down. So you are paying attention to the combine meets. You said that is something to really pay attention to. The guest list. Who's on it so far?
Yeah, so you'll hear people talk about, the Cowboys are meeting with this person or meeting with that person, and you'll hear them differentiate between informal meeting and formal meeting. So one of the things I learned early on when I started developing relationships with people in the league or with the Cowboys is when I would talk about, they met informally with this person, I would have multiple people text me and go, hey, that doesn't matter at all, right? Informal means absolutely nothing. That could be informal could count as Brian Schottenheimer walks up to somebody and goes, hey, great workout, young man. Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to high school? Oh, yeah, I had a friend that went to that high school. All right, good talking to you. Good luck in the draft. That counts as an informal meeting. Like that would go on the record as that. So the formal meetings are more important. Those are 20-minute sit-downs in a suite or in a conference room with multiple people from the team doing whiteboard work. And the formal meetings that the Cowboys have so far, Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker from Texas A&M, Junior Colson, linebacker from Michigan, who has caught the attention of Jordan Lewis, as
the morning show has.
Oh, my God. The amount of people who just completely misinterpreted that yesterday.
Explain.
Correct me if I'm wrong, none of us said that they should stop going after players from Michigan, right?
We talked about fan reaction might be that they just go, oh, no, Michigan, which there were people replying to us going, no, he's from Michigan. I don't want him. So
we did the topic Oklahoma quarterbacks, Penn State running backs. Do you stay away from Michigan defensive linemen after Taco and Mozzie?
Right. And then people kept saying, you guys are idiots. How dare, why would you consider staying away from somebody? This is why radio sucks.
Now that was during the show or after Jordan Lewis responded to the fan story.
But it was after
people who were listening also said that.
No. It was the people who were responding to either Jordan Lewis's comment or
the fan article
tweet.
Yeah.
Which is you obviously didn't click the link.
Yeah, because we
obviously didn't listen.
Because we obviously also said a clear outlier of this is Jordan Lewis has been with the team and played well for 7 years, and that didn't.
Well, I mean, look.
Or Aiden Hutchinson, as Sean brought up, he's been a monster in the NFL.
But I mean, we brought up Lewis by name and said he's been a good player for them.
To be fair, though, for someone who didn't listen to it, first off, that is on them. But if you just read it,
the headline,
you're going to think that we're saying stay away from Michigan players, and Jordan Lewis tweeted back, damn.
Yeah, that's all he said was just damn. Yeah. But it got the go blue. It got the Derek Hollins and the Mooney Demers just blowing up our spot. Another Michigan player that they formally met with, Chris Jenkins. Remember Chris Jenkins?
Panthers, D lineman.
Yeah, this is Chris Jenkins Jr. Oh, again, we're hitting this cycle now of how old we are of players that we saw growing up that were dominant at one point. Now their kids are getting kicked into the NFL. But lots of defensive linemen. Tavondre Sweat from Texas, the defensive tackle. So they formally met with 5 defensive tackles, 3 linebackers. They'll continue to meet with various people, as more position groups get in there. But
all defense?
All defense so far. So and they get
The Matt Rule approach in Carolina.
Matt Rule approach.
They get 45 meetings, so they've used up 8 so far, all of them on defense.